hello. Today I will attempt to show off the upcoming scenario mode, which is a purely PVE focused mode, but there is probably a lot of interest for this scenario mode, so I figured my viewers would no doubt be quite interested in seeing it. Let's jump into the battle itself. I am playing a carrier because, well, I will get into this more, but I found that the tier 6 carrier is, in a strike configuration, is probably the easiest way of carrying this game mode, and the easiest way of winning it and clearing it with all the objectives. There are other ships that are especially strong, but I will get into that later. Anyway, as you can see from the minimap, or if we open up the, well, I can't open up the main map now, sorry about that, because we are still in the pre-phase of this replay. Let's see if I can unlock myself from the carrier controls. Give me a second here. Let's unlock myself. There we go. Now we're unlocked. Right. And first off, you can see there are these 3 surveillance stations outside of this base. You have a base in the lower right corner, and there's 3 surveillance stations. Where the first wave spawns is always random. I've seen it spawn on any of these 3 surveillance stations. The first spawn is only tier, very low tier ships. We got tier 2, 3, 4 ships spawning, and it's only 4 of them, so these are of course very easy to kill. But it's worth keeping in mind that you are on a deadline. In fact, if we look at the top left, we can see hold on until the main forces of the Navy arrive. That's a primary task, which you need to survive, and you need to kill all enemy ships in order to complete the main mission. That's what you need for a victory. But there's more than that going on than just getting this basic mission. You also need the secondary objectives if you want more XP and if you want to be fully able to complete this mission. The first secondary task is all objects in the base must survive. And now this includes all of these things in the base, I would assume. You might see some new ships here, like the Cimarron and the Liberty. The Liberty ships are actually quite important because these ships sail out and repair your broken batteries. In fact, when you start the game, you have some broken batteries in your spawn, and this Liberty ship will sail out and repair them for you, which is quite awesome. Now, you do want to defend these things in your spawn, as they are very low HP, 5000 health. When they do explode though, it looks pretty awesome. It's a massive explosion, and pretty much this entire base just evaporates in a huge explosion, which looks awesome, but no spoiling it in this one. And you want to protect your entire base. That's the goal here. So the first wave is getting killed now. I am playing carrier because I found I can have such a huge impact on not just reaching these ships while they spawn far out, but also in general it deals so much damage. Now this is on the normal mode. You can't play the hard mode yet because well, it's not unlocked on the PTS. Now, a new secondary task arrived. You see, destroy. Well, that was the first. All objects in the base must survive. There's some translation errors. You might see some Russian in here in between. Anyway, the second one is do not allow the enemy ships to get inside the defense perimeter until the main attack arrives. Now, these attacks that spawn at the surveillance station as the start, they are not the main attack. They are the first preliminary attack, and they cannot enter. If you look at the minimap in the bottom right corner, you see this line. No ships are allowed to enter this line. If they enter it, you fail that secondary task. And hold on with at least 3 ships until allies arrive. This is of course, you need to kill all enemy ships, including the main attack, with 3 ships alive at the very end in order to finish this one. This is probably the hardest one to finish because it requires, well, your team not potatoing. You have to rely quite heavily on random players. Destroy all enemy ships before the start of the main attack. Now these are the secondary ones. You can't really see the timer here, but I think you have about roughly 10 minutes to kill all of these secondary attacks before the main attacks arrive. So it's kind of a race against time. You need to kill off these guys as fast as possible. If you got a competent team with some good ships, in this case ship picks have a huge impact on, well, you want DPS, you want DPM, you want pure damage, because you want to be able to kill them as soon as possible. If you do manage to kill all these ships before the main attack arrives, which you have about 10 minutes to do, you will unlock another secondary objective, which is cool. I like the fact that you can unlock more objectives the better you do. I will get into that when that phase of this scenario starts. You can see, by the way, meanwhile in our spawn, well, first of all, these batteries in our spawn are constantly firing. These are surprisingly useful. You have a lot of these batteries around, they have really good range, and they will be firing the entire time. And these ones are being healed up, the ones in the back. These batteries are being healed up by these Liberty repair ships. So I assume as you get into higher difficulties, this will be a very important mechanic, and the fact that they have already implemented it means that they have obviously put a lot of thought into this mode and what kind of things you can unlock. So this second wave, this is only the second wave, you might notice that these are tier 4 ships now, tier 4 and tier 5, and you get higher and higher tiers all the time. And in fact, when the main attack arrives, there's even an Izumo in there, which is a tier 9 battleship, and you gotta remember you're limited to tier 6 ships, so that is actually pretty cool. I quite enjoyed that, especially because the first time it arrived I was sailing around in the Furutaka and the Izumo spawned right next to me, so that didn't end very well. So the third attack begins. We haven't really finished this attack yet, but the third attack has already spawned, and you can see them spawning out here. Now we have tier 7s in here as well, Aobas, Fubukis and such. So this is why, of course, having a lot of DPS is quite important. In fact, cruisers at this at the normal difficulty are incredibly important. Both Budyonni and especially Cleveland, because they are very high DPM ships, have a huge impact on this game. So for success, if you want the normal difficulty, having some Clevelands around are great. I tried with the Fuso, and the big issue with the Fuso was that when you get to these higher tier ships, especially when they angle in like these do, because they kind of try to rush your base, so they're going to be angled towards you the entire time. So battleships like Fuso, which don't have that big of a caliber, are going to struggle to deal any damage to them. DDs had very little impact, honestly. It was hard to have an impact because, of course, DPM isn't really a DD thing. You don't really deal too much damage, but worth noting is that you can smoke up allied ships, not just players but also bots, and quite importantly, you can smoke up these batteries as well. So if you smoke up a battery near the coast like this, the enemy won't be able to fire at them, which would probably become quite a big deal in the higher difficulties. But at this normal difficulty, the biggest carry ships are, without a doubt, the cruisers and the carrier, because you can rack up so much damage. This New York overextends, so he's gonna get killed, no doubt. He cannot survive that. But that's, of course, one of the things as well. You rely quite heavily on the random players. In this case, of course, we have 2 tier 5s, and they are tier 5 in general is going to struggle, because even tier 6s can be quite pressured when the main attack does start. So there we go, lose our first New York, and of course when a player dies, well, he's gone for good, and that means the rest of the mission becomes that much harder. And this is, of course, still preliminary attacks. This is the last wave. There's 3 waves of the preliminary attack, and this is the 3rd wave that we're dealing with now. And we got about I think it was at exactly 10 minutes that the next wave, the final attack, starts. So we still got about 2 minutes 20 to go, and we are going to finish off these DDs. Once again, the batteries and the fact that we have a lot of cruisers that are dealing a lot of damage. You might notice that these Clevelands are getting a lot of kills, and that is not surprising. Cleveland and Budyonni are 2 great ships for this because of the pure DPM. So we managed to kill off, I think there's still a Hatsuharu in the smoke somewhere. Yes, we managed to kill them off, and now we got 2 minutes. So what happens now is we unlock another objective. In this case, protect the allied aircraft carrier Romeo. You see it says defend above it. It spawns very far out. Now, depending on how quickly you kill these enemy ships, the more time you have to get this guy into cover, because of course the main attack will begin in 1 minute 40. So this carrier needs to get into our base. He will sail there automatically, he will launch planes, and he will strike enemy ships. But if you didn't get this first part done in time, you kind of have to help him out, because the main attack will spawn right behind him. So it's very important that you have a lot of time to let this guy get going and get moving. Now two threats spawn to attack him. A Hipper on the left side and a Mogami on the east side. Now I send my carrier planes to strike the Mogami, while my main fleet kind of deals with these Fusos deal with the Hipper. And these guys will attempt to harass and attack the Lexington. Once again, if you happen to have a DD and you didn't have too much time, you can smoke up the Lexington to hide him from sight, and there's all sorts of interesting tactics involved. In normal mode though, I played I think 7 games in normal mode. I think I lost 2 and I won 5. I only got 1 perfect, but it does show that even without any divisions, just solo playing, once people know what to do and people bring the correct chips, you shouldn't really have any issues fully completing this task, even just with normal players. And of course the strength of having this strike build against bots shows here, since I'm able to quite easily deal with this Mogami, and then even the Lexington sends in his planes and stuff, so this combination is very, very strong. You might notice we're just about to finish killing them and the main attack is about to spawn. I'm telling this Cleveland he needs to get the hell out of there because the main attack is spawning in 5 seconds. And 3, 2, 1, and the main attack spawns. And this is the final attack and the main attack that you need to defend against. And it involves Izumos, Mas, Shiratsuyu, and you got Gneisenau's and Yorks on the right flank, and you got Scharnhorst, Mayoko on the left flank. Now, of course, I already knew this was coming, so I used my bombers. As you might see, I used my bombers to set the Izumo on fire, and because of course dot damage is percentage based. So first I use my dots to set him on fire, force his repair. Once his repair is forced, I come in with my strike, with my torpedo bombers, and I drop him to cause a flooding on him. Since he's already used his repair, this flooding will of course be permanent. He's unable to repair it, and that helps the rest of my team a lot, because of course Izumo is really hard to deal with for a lot of players, since he can overmatch pretty much all the armor with those massive guns, and when he's angled he doesn't really take much damage. You might notice that this Lexington almost made it all the way to the base because we killed the first wave so quickly. So that's a good thing. Otherwise he might be caught in the middle of there and it's a lot harder to keep him alive. We do lose a second ship. Note that we need to hold on with at least 3 ships until our allies arrive, which is quite important here. Regardless though, this Izumo is flooding to death, which is of course the whole point of why I like running carrier, because I can deal with this huge tier 9 threat simply all by myself, and that makes life so much easier for the rest of my team. Also, I can reinforce positions that need the help. In this case, I'm going in for the Gneisenau next, which is another big threat that's quite hard to deal with. The Scharnhorst and Mayoko are pushing in from the other flank, but you can see this during this final attack, you do need a bit more. Players need to kind of know what they're doing, or they need to not just YOLO in and get themselves killed, because these guys, all of them, the DDs use their torps and they use their guns, and this Kirov underestimates the sheer amount of gunpowder coming in from these DDs, and I think that volley from the battleship is going to finish him off. So now we're actually down to only 4 ships, and we need 3 to survive until allies arrive. But we are killing them off quite quickly, and I forced the flooding on the Gneisenau, which forced him to repair, and now I go in with bombers. Once again, this is why I highly rate the Ryu for this mission. It's very easy to carry it. I set triple fire on him, he can't repair, so that's a lot of damage that he's going to be eating that he can't repair, which makes of course life a lot easier for my allies. These batteries are about to go down, but I don't think these batteries on the outside, I'm pretty sure they don't count. It's the main objectives down here, and you can notice these batteries that have been repaired by the Liberty ship. These guys are actually have a lot of guns, and they are constantly firing, and they help out quite a bit because they're firing 24/7. I think they have massive range or something, so that's a lot of additional DPS you're getting from them. The Lexington Romeo is already sailing into cover. Mayoko is pushing in quite close, and they have managed to destroy this fort on the outside, but once again these outside forts or outside batteries don't count for the objective, so you are allowed to lose them, which is a good thing. Brionni is going quite low. I'm detected by the ships on the left, so I'm going in for the strikes and I'm trying to get rid of them. Gneisenau burns to death, and we are finishing up the final ships here. I think you can do this, I mean you got 20 minutes to do this whole scenario, so to say, but I would say that a really good team can probably do this normal task, can probably do it in around 14-15 minutes pretty easily. I mean, maybe even faster actually, maybe even in 13-14. So, because we're down to the last ship and we've been at this for about 14 minutes. So yeah, I would say like a good setup can deal with this much easier. Now what is quite interesting here is that of course in this PV mode you can queue up with 7 people, I'm being told. You can make a division of 7 people, so you can make a full clan group or whatever division of friends, whatever, and go into this. So if you don't really want to rely on random players, you can do that, or you can just go in with the division and then have it filled up with random players and so forth. For this normal difficulty though, I don't think like even a 2-3 man division shouldn't have too many issues of simply carrying this to victory. Like let's say they bring Cleveland Ruyo, and I see them carrying this quite easily. That's the last ship destroyed. Still had 5 minutes left, and that is a victory for our team, and the scenario ends. Let's see if I can open up some scoreboards here for us to see. Here is the victory screen, a lot of Russian, once again, because, well, this is PTS and this is the Russian version. So you can see you gain more stars depending on how many secondary tasks you complete. And I think you need to get all 5 tasks done, get all these stars to unlock the hard mode, which doesn't exist on PTS yet. But as you can see, here's all the secondary tasks, and the more of these you complete, the better XP and rewards you get. In fact, if you complete this fully, as you can see, the XP rewards aren't bad at all. I mean, 390k credits, 7k XP. This is with flags and camo and such things, of course. But considering this is PVE, not PvP, PVE rewards are usually much lower than PvP rewards. So getting this much reward from PVE is a big deal. There's also these specific rewards that are clearly made for PVE only. This one, and the one that I'm highlighting right now, that is 100% completion, meaning getting all the 5 stars done. So you get an individual heroic achievement for that one. And then we have this one, which is deal 10% of damage to half of all the enemy ships. So it's kind of like a PvE Confederate. So you can also get this one. So obviously they put a lot of thought into this, and they're looking to expand this whole PvE horizon quite a bit, because there are PvE specific achievements you can get. Looking on forward to the team score, you can see how many kills you got, how much of an impact you had, and as you can see, the Ruyo, as I mentioned, has a huge impact. A good carrier, a good strike carrier can really carry this mode because of how much damage and impact you have. Moving on though to one of the big negative impacts. When you finally get to port after this game mode has ended, you might see, if you look down where my Ruyo is, you might see there's a timer on it which says 28 minutes, and there's a timer on my Cleveland which says 12 minutes. When you finish playing this scenario, you are locked out from using your ship for 30 minutes. You can't play another scenario. I don't think you can play pretty much anything. Well, at least you can't play this scenario again with the same ship unless you pay 20 doubloons. If you pay 20 doubloons, you can use your ship instantly again. If you don't pay 20 doubloons, well, you gotta wait 30 minutes or you gotta play another ship. And this feels, after all the good things, all the things I really liked and enjoyed about this scenario thing, this was such a are you serious type of thing to see at the end. I mean, it's not that big of a deal if you play multiple ships in this. I mean, you can, if you play with some buddies, you can easily switch to a Cleveland and one of your buddies switch to a Ruyo instead, and you can cycle ships and not really have to deal with this. But it seems so unnecessary. It seems like this cheap additional way of trying to milk just a bit of doubloons out of the player. And I have to say, after all the great things, I really enjoyed this scenario mode. I thought it was in depth. It had a lot of different mechanics, and I'm really looking forward to seeing the hard mode. There were so many great things. Ending it on the fact that you lock out the ships and you need doubloons to unlock them. Oh, it was such a letdown. Like, seriously, Wargaming, why would you do this? Why? I hope this doesn't make it to the live version. Keep in mind, of course, this is PTS, this is the test version, and I really hope this unnecessary thing doesn't make it to the live version, because it's only 20 doubloons, but it's such a huge negative thing to add on top of something that looked like a really fun and engaging game mode. Anyway, that was my preview of the upcoming scenario, the PvE scenarios, and I'm really looking forward to the hard mode. I think it can be quite interesting, especially if you can queue up with 7 people and it's actually really difficult with a lot of high tier ships and stuff. It can become quite hectic. So looking forward to that, and that was all from me. I hope you guys enjoyed this preview.